What if I told you that one single feature inside GoHighLevel could replace the 5 or 6 different platforms you're probably logging into every single day just to keep up with your leads? And what if setting the whole thing up took less time than you think because someone already did most of the work for you? That's exactly what I'm breaking down in this video. I'm taking you on a full inside tour of the GoHighLevel platform. I'm showing you the specific features that are actually going to move the needle for your business, what you need to set up first, and the one mistake almost everyone makes when they first get inside this software that causes them to get overwhelmed and give up before it ever works for them. We're covering how the platform is structured because if you don't understand the difference between your agency level and your sub account, you will be confused every single time you log in. We're walking through how to load a snapshot into your account step by step because this is the thing that saves you from starting from scratch. I'm going to show you why that one feature alone is worth the entire price of this software. Let's go ahead and dive in. And if you guys have any questions, I'm going to first dive in to just an overview of the system. Okay, so there are several different components here. In this top left, ours says Pipeline Patriot, and that is because this is our agency branding. Now we are about to rebrand, so it will look different in really probably about a month and a half. But even if you do not have a SaaS mode account, you can set up an agency brand. Now, if you're just using this for your individual business, this might be your individual business's name, but there are two different tiers to this software. Think of this as the kind of the architecture of everything. All right. Your settings that go across all of your different individual accounts can be set up here. This is also where you would set up snapshots. So again, the snapshots that we talked about, these are massive. I've got dozens and dozens of snapshots that we've created for different things, different business models, different industries, different functions, different types of lead generation strategies. So you can create as many of these as you want. That is something you have to do at the agency level. If you have a SaaS account, you can configure your SaaS settings, your reselling settings. You can add markups on text message cost, email costs, things like that. The affiliate portal is where you would look at how much money are you making every single month by simply recommending this product to other people. They also have template libraries, which we'll explore. They have partners. So if you're looking for businesses to work with that do different things in high level, you can find that here. They have a university that will teach you the basics of this platform, SaaS education, if you are going to be selling SaaS, and then really just a couple of custom links that we've got down here. But they have an app marketplace as well. So the app marketplace is pretty cool. And then they also have a mobile app. So if you want to download this software as an app, the app itself is called Lead Connector. The reason it's not called High Level is because this software was originally designed for agencies, okay? They did not want to go directly to small businesses and try and educate them on all of these things because ultimately it's a lot, even for a marketer or agency owner. What they wanted to do was say, hey, agencies that are working with small businesses, use this software, help your clients with it, and that is how word is going to spread. They didn't want those clients to know that this was high level because those agencies could brand this software as their own. So Lead Connector is the name of the app. You can also pay an additional fee to get your own custom app. So if you're just a single individual business using this for yourself, there's no reason to do that. But if you are selling SaaS, that is a really cool option. So all of your clients can just use this personal branded app. Now there's also an agency settings level, and let's see what we've got in here. So there's not a ton of stuff. We're going to go through this. Okay. I do have a guide on going through your agency settings, but a lot of these things are not actually going to be necessary for you guys right away. But you will want to put in company details And you will just want to get familiar with what is inside of the agency settings in case you need them. Almost everything you're going to need to do, though, can be done within our sub account. So, this is again like that highest level settings, which are your agency settings. Even if you're not a marketing agency, you're still going to have an agency dashboard, which has everything else living inside of it. Now, if we wanted to get to an individual sub account, and a sub account is what your business will actually use in its day to day processes. So, this one right here, this is my business's sub account. But we have hundreds and hundreds of sub accounts within this platform because we also sell SaaS. So, those accounts live within my agency the same way that my business's sub account lives within my agency. So if you're not sure if you are on a white labeled version of HighLevel or not, this is what the difference is. Okay. If you click on this button right here, if you see this label that says switch to agency view, you have your own HighLevel account. If you do not, that means you are on a white labeled version. A white labeled version is essentially someone is selling SaaS. You bought that sub account from them. It's still HighLevel, but the difference is you might be restricted on some of the features that you can use because that is up to the individual agency to decide what is included inside of their HighLevel sub account that they're reselling. Another thing that you cannot do as a white label user is load a snapshot yourself. Okay, this is potentially going to be something that a few of you have to deal with. If you have that white labeled sub account from someone else, the link that we shared in the chat, it is not going to work for you. Okay, and that's because you load snapshots in through the agency settings. For example, if I clicked on our snapshot link, the one that I shared with you guys, if I wanted to load this snapshot into my account, these are the steps that you're going to follow. Now, if you clicked on that link and you set up your trial using that link directly, that snapshot should already be in your account. But when you load a snapshot in, it does not automatically get put into that sub account. And the reason is you may have hundreds of sub accounts. It's not just going to load a bunch of stuff into all of these accounts. So it'll come into the agency level and we have to tell it where we want it to go. So the way that you do that is you're going to click on this if you're in the sub account level. Then we're going to go to the sub accounts tab. Then we would go to the specific sub account that we want, which again, just it should be the name of the business that's using it essentially. You can also search for it right here. There's going to be three little dots on the far right-hand side. You're going to click on that, and there is going to be a button that says Manage Client. You're going to click on that Manage Client button, and you're going to see a screen that looks like this. You would then go to this Actions tab at the top right, and this button says Load Snapshot. But this is something that trips a lot of people up, and it's really important if you plan on using these snapshots. So it's going to say Choose a snapshot. We'll click here. You can see imported. Okay. So if you see imported, it means it was brought into the account, which a lot of ours say imported. And then you're going to see that some potentially that say own. That means you created that sub account. So you should be looking for one that says imported and it should say core appointment snapshot, Allie Bloyd Media. So let's just show this right here, imported core appointment snapshot, Allie Bloyd Media. That is the snapshot that you will be loading into your account if you're going to use that snapshot link that I shared with you. Okay, so you would select this, you would hit proceed, and now you're going to see all of these different things that are in the account. Now, whatever is going to come with this snapshot, it's whatever was there when the snapshot was created. There are 2 calendar groups. There are 3 calendars. There are 33 custom fields, 21 custom values, 2 forms, 3 funnels, 1 pipeline, review settings, 3 tags, and 13 workflows. On some of these that say 0 of 0, it means those elements are not included in this snapshot. So as I mentioned, we have dozens and dozens of snapshots for different things. Those are things that our coaching students and mastermind users use for whatever it is they need at the time. This snapshot is one of two foundational snapshots that we give out. One is called the core appointment, which is what you guys have. The other is called the core purchase. Core appointment is for an appointment based sales process. Okay. If you take phone appointments, Zoom appointments, in person appointments at your office, or you go to appointments at a client's home, those are the people that would benefit from this snapshot the most. You might have certain things that you sell direct, but there is a higher ticket component that requires an appointment in order to close that deal. So this is what we're going to be focusing on. And then we would hit proceed. It'll ask you to type in confirm, and then you'll type in confirm. You'll click one more button and it will load that into your account. It only takes a couple of minutes. So give it a minute or two once you do that. But once you load that in, you will see all of those assets inside of your account. All right, this is our high level sub account. So if we wanted to get to that sub account from this screen, we could either click here and search for the name of that account. Let's say you don't have a sub account, okay? You need to go to sub accounts and you need to create that. So you click on create sub account. If you want to use the core appointment snapshot and you've already loaded that in through that link, you'd click on imported snapshots. You would select that Allie Bloyd Media core appointment snapshot, select and continue. And then you can either type in your business address and it will pull up your business's details from just Google Business Profile, things like that. Or you can add it manually. If you add it manually, it's just going to be basic contact information, address. It's going to ask, is this a client's sub account or is this your own sub account? Once you do that, you will have a sub account that will show up right here. Typically, you're not in it on a day-to-day basis at all, unless you sell SaaS. Everything that this software does happens within these sub accounts. So let's go back to our core appointment snapshot account. So this is a demo account. This is where we build the assets that we create our snapshots from. We don't want to do that in an account that has real users and real business information happening because we want to be able to update this in a really clean environment. And so this is going to have nothing in it, but I'm going to walk you guys through all of these things over the course of this week. So before we actually start getting into the settings, I want to give you a little tour because these features, once again, there's a lot of things it can do, but you do not need to use all of them and you do not need to use all of them at once. Your goal is going to be to identify the features that make the most sense for you and your business. We'll get those things set up. We'll get those things mastered. And then, because you will have an awareness of the other things that it can do, you can then decide what is the best next step. What is something that I'm paying for that I would like to stop paying for? So the first thing you're going to see is the LaunchPad. This LaunchPad is supposed to be the first couple of steps that you do to get set up for success. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't think this LaunchPad is really like the best set of next steps, but there's some good stuff. All right. Downloading the app is great because if you have leads coming in to this account, you have notification settings on your phone that you can use. You don't have to be in front of your computer. If somebody texts you through the system, you can choose, do I want to get a notification on that or not? Same thing with phone calls and just being able to check appointments, check opportunities, check contacts and conversations from your phone is really nice. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. If you have a Google Business Profile, you definitely want to connect that. You also want to connect your Facebook business page, your Instagram page, any of these other softwares, which we'll dive into in a minute. You can also have a chat widget for your website. There are other things that I believe are way more important, but this is a great thing if you already have a website and you already have people going to it, collecting leads from people who previously were not opting in. You can integrate WhatsApp. You can integrate Stripe if you want to accept payments. You can move your WordPress site over to this software, and then you can also add team members. So again, this is the Launchpad. You can go through it and take what makes sense for you. or we can skip it. Now, the dashboard is where your data will be populated once activity is actually happening in your account. So it will break down the people in your pipelines, how many people are in each pipeline stage, what the value of those people are, what your conversion percentage is. It'll break down where people are in those stages, the different tasks. So you can create tasks for team members or for leads. Those will show up here. Lead source report, Google Analytics, Google Business Profile, Facebook ads, Google Ads. Now, this is customizable. The next thing that we'll take a look at is the conversations. This is by far one of the most valuable features of this software. This is the single unified inbox that people can look at to see every conversation, every action that a lead has taken. And it doesn't have to be in one channel. So that's the beauty of this. If you are a business owner and people are texting your personal cell phone, if they are calling your personal cell phone, you need this. If you are checking DMs on Google Business Profile or Facebook or Instagram all the time, logging into these different platforms, you need this. And even more so, because if you're checking all these different places, you are not going to be following up with those people. So if you have conversations here, you're going to see the contact name, you'll see the conversation thread in the middle, you'll see every action they ever did on the right-hand side, as well as their contact info. You can filter this by unread, read, you can star messages. You can say, is this assigned to me or someone else? We can also filter based on who that chat's assigned to. Is it inbound or outbound? Is it manual or automated? And then what are the different message channels that these messages and conversations came from? So I typically just encourage people to go through this once or twice at the most every single day. Go through all your conversations and you respond to them. Or if it's nothing you need, you mark it as read. If it's spam or something like that, which you do get, I'm sure you guys get a lot of spam Facebook messages as is. If you need to take action on that, go ahead and take action or leave it as unread until you have time to do this. This is your hot list of leads right here. So do not underestimate the power of this unified inbox. For anybody who's just struggling to keep up with their leads, or they have client boundary issues where people are texting them at 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that, this is the solution. So this one feature alone is worth the price of admission for this software. We also have calendars, which we're going to be talking about pretty extensively through this week. We can have as many calendars as we want. We can have paid calendars or free calendars. We can have service calendars. So if you are a med spa or a barbershop or a hair salon or somebody that has a variety of services that people may want to add multiple services, this is ideal. If you have rooms or equipment, so for example, let's say you've got a sauna at your med spa. That sauna can fit X number of people per slot. This system will recognize if this room is full at this specific time, so it won't offer that availability. Same thing with equipment. If you need certain types of equipment for a service to be done, if it is already being used at that time slot, it will recognize that. This is something everybody's going to use, not something that you're going to have anything in here when you start your account, but you will get contacts. So anytime somebody sends you a Facebook message or texts you or calls you or emails you through this high level system, they will automatically be created as a contact, but they're only going to have the contact info that is associated with that channel. So if they just call you inbound, you're not going to have their name, you're not going to have their email address, it will be just their phone number. Using this system to actually generate your leads through forms, through surveys, through calendars, that's the best way to build up your list because you're going to get all of those pieces of contact info, which means that you can communicate with your leads in every single one of those channels. If I am already using a spreadsheet to manage my leads, or if I'm using another CRM to manage my leads, I can easily get my leads into the software. So there is an import button. You can upload a CSV file. We do have a step-by-step walkthrough document of how to format your spreadsheet to import it properly in this software. So for the most part, if you just want to update name, email, phone number, etc., it's very easy to do that. The Challenges can come into if you've got a lot of data in those systems. So maybe you have a lot of notes that have been added. You have certain custom questions or custom columns in those spreadsheets, and you want to keep that data. There are things you will need to do before you load them in to make sure that all of that information is saved so you don't lose anything when you are transferring over. So we'll make sure that we link that in the follow-up emails that we send each day. Getting all of your contacts in here is really important. We're going to talk about email rules and warming up your email. The best group of people you can start with are your existing clients or your past clients. The reason for that is that these are very hot or warm contacts. They are going to be unlikely to mark you as spam. They're going to be unlikely to really do anything that would cause your email reputation or text reputation to be hit early on. What GoHighLevel wants to make sure of is that this is not used as a spam system. This is supposed to be used for contacts who have opted in and consented to be contacted. Now, if you got them to opt in and consent to be contacted through another software, that's great. Okay, we still need to get them in here and we still want to start warming those people up. That is something that we will talk about later in this week. But this is an important thing because if you don't go ahead and load in your contacts, you're not going to be using the software. Having your contacts in this system is the first step of actively using it on a daily basis. So it's one of the first things that I would do.
Okay, so now you've seen the inside of the platform. You know where things live, you know how to load your snapshot, and hopefully the whole thing feels a lot less overwhelming than it did before you clicked on this video. If this walkthrough helped you, and I really hope it did, go ahead and hit that like button. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this content reach other business owners and marketers who need it. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. We go deep on GoHighLevel every single week. Platform walkthroughs, marketing systems, paid ad strategy, and everything in between. This is the channel if you are serious about building a business that actually has systems behind it. I'll see you in the next one.